This afternoon, just recording a status check as the engine and everything's going back together. Progress, I guess you'd say. I've got the fuel rail disassembled and rebuilt, and new seals in all the cross tubes, and the regulator in the back. The regulator's been replaced. Brand new fuel injectors installed on the rail, and the assembly has been installed to the manifold. Have the new EGR sensor and the extension wire that I had to build installed and tied in. Working to sort out a few of the connections back at the back of the engine there. Things are starting to feed to the front. Starting to connect wires to the front here, to the front of the manifold. Getting more brackets in place. Got the air conditioning bracket in place. Got the fuel lines attached and connected down here around the side. So we got them in place, bolted down, bolted into the air conditioning bracket. The fuel line bracket actually holds the air conditioning bracket in. I have 5 quarts of oil in the engine. You can still see we got the blue tape. I've got the runners coming. I spent the morning cleaning the runners, walnut shell blasting them, and then degreasing, and in very good condition at the moment. They're not perfect, but cleaned up pretty well. So torque and bolts here in the front, and I think pretty soon here we'll get the radiator in place so I can start hooking up cooling hoses. And then, like I say, runners, and even with the runners and the plenum to come, I should still have room to be able to drop the distributor in. I'm going to hold that back so I can pre-oil the engine when I get a little bit closer. Progress is moving along. I'm getting closer. I've got the runners finger started and getting ready to put plenum in. But I think at this stage I'm going to go ahead and I'm close enough. I'm going to go ahead and prelube the engine a second time. I did this once already before I put the valve covers on, before I put the engine in fact. But I got an adapter down in the back of the manifold that picks up the oil pump, and I'm just going to give it one more spin and make sure I get oil pressure, or you can tell you get oil pressure when this thing comes up, and flow a little bit of oil, and then I can drop the distributor in, and then finish attaching the runners and the plenum. I think I could get the distributor in with the plenum installed, but it's a whole lot easier accessing before the plenum is there. So it's like, why make things harder for yourself? So let's see what we can do here. I'm already given it a couple of shots. This is my third try. You can hear the drill load down. This is a big half-inch drill, and when you get the oil pressure built up, you can hear the load, and the motor on this drill gets hot in a hurry. So I think I got enough. That'll be enough for now. Now I can pull that adapter out, and I'm going to go ahead and try to drop the distributor in and see if I can get her lined up for lined up for timing. Making progress on the reassembly. Finally now have the tune port runners and plenum all back in, and the distributor is dropped in, and roughly timed as close as I can get without any power on it. You can feel the pole pieces in the distributor when they're lined up. So I got it dropped in on number 6 because that's how the engine was shipped to me. So rotors up to fire on number 6 at 6 degrees. Everything is coming together. I've got all the vacuum hoses and lines hooked up. About time to hook up the injectors and throttle linkage. And then once I do that, then I can start running accessories. I also have to fish around a little bit with spark plug wires. A couple of them came up short, and this left-hand loom is really tight on the back of the engine. I think I may have to raise the car and get underneath and see if I can scoot another couple of inches of wire for 5 and 7. The front ones are plenty long, but the back ones are a little short. Everything's pretty much starting to line up. Like I say, accessories are next. I'm going to go from there.
Keeping with the theme that I really want this to run the first time, I went ahead and went through the distributor and the ignition system completely. Here are the parts that I used. The key, probably the main thing to point out is the distributor pickup coil. You have to knock out the roll pin at the bottom of the shaft, take the gear off and replace it, put the shaft back in. Also, I've been ordering a lot of AC Delco standard parts, figuring they're the closest to GM original, but the wires didn't fit right because they didn't have the rubber button on the top that fits the retainer on the larger distributor cap in this application. So I hunted around and found this United Motor Products number that uses, as I recall, I think it's got the original Packard wire, and it uses the correct end fittings so that it lines up and fits correctly. Otherwise, the distributor was in pretty good shape. The bearings, the bushings seemed to be tight, so this was an opportunity to take it down, clean it up, and get everything refreshed.